Strength, confidence, and power. These are the words that come to mind when you see such a behemoth. The scariest thing is that you never know what it's planning. There's something ancient, prehistoric, and primal about this animal, especially considering that rhinos can weigh well over 2 tons. Don't let the apparent clumsiness of these thick-skinned giants fool you. Rhinos are very short-tempered and don't like strangers on their territory, and they consider everything around them to be theirs. A huge head, powerful neck, thick legs, and very poor eyesight. But with such mass, it's not a problem for him anymore. Hello everyone, you're on the Animal Instinct channel, and today we'll look at rhinos in action. Get comfortable, we're starting. Currently, only 5 species of rhinos remain: white, black, Indian, Javan and Sumatran, and all of them are listed in the Red Book. The situation is worst for the last 2 species. The number of Sumatran rhinos does not exceed 300, and Javan 50 individuals. Rhinos are endangered due to mass extermination. Their horns were used for jewelry making and medicine. They were attributed miraculous properties, which practically granted immortality. The largest is the white rhinoceros. Old males can reach over 3 tons, but the average weight is 2 tons. It's hard to believe, but these giant animals don't need meat to survive. Rhinos eat at least 150 pounds of grass a day and also drink over 150 liters of water. They have 1 or 2 horns on their heads, which can grow up to 5 meters long. Despite their appearance, rhinos are quite fast and can reach speeds of up to 45 kilometers per hour. So don't try to outrun it. Let's see what a rhino can do in action. And its first opponent will be a hippopotamus. Hippos are similar to rhinos in almost everything: their size, weight, and even their aggressive nature. Therefore, the outcome of the fights is difficult to predict. The only difference is the method of attack. The rhino tries to stab its opponent with its horn, and the hippo opens its huge mouth, revealing sharp teeth. The knife and the hippos, as usual, were lying in the swamp when a rhino approached them. 4 smaller hippos decided to get away, but then the biggest hippo emerges from the water, who is in no way willing to yield. He immediately opens his mouth and rushes at the rhino, which understands what's happening and quickly runs away. Here, the same story. The hippo felt that the rhino was intruding on its territory, which was unforgivable. The hippo shows its huge mouth, but the rhino doesn't even think of leaving. It's deprived of its main weapon, a long horn, and the odds are not in its favor. But the animal doesn't understand this and acts on instinct. The hippo attacks its opponent with its huge lower teeth, which protrude forward and can reach 15 centimeters in length. Look, the rhino wants to hit the hippo too, but instead of hitting, it runs into the fangs itself. The rhino falls, and the hippo drags it into the water, piercing its chest with its fangs. In this fight, the rhino drowned and died. But this doesn't always happen. Here, a hippopotamus encountered a rhino that was missing a horn. Both animals try to scare each other, showing their weapons. But after a few minutes, the hippo runs away from the rhino. And in this video, the rhino attacked a lone hippopotamus. It seems that the hippo was sick or wounded because it didn't even try to defend itself and just lay there. And even though his horn was small, such blows are not without consequences. The rhino simply takes and pushes the huge hippopotamus off its spot. In the end, the rhino loses interest and leaves. The hippopotamus is injured, but still, it gets up and leaves the battle site on its own. But if hippos attack only to protect their territory, then the following heroes see the rhino as a good meal. Lions are one of the few predators that can hunt such powerful and dangerous prey, and all because lions hunt in groups. In the first video, a pride of lions surrounded a young rhino, but no one dares to attack. The rhino is very active and doesn't let them get close. He goes into the water to protect himself. How this confrontation ended is unknown. Here, the rhino lay in a puddle, which of course attracted the lions. It probably seemed to the lions that the rhino was injured and couldn't get out on its own, which means it was easy prey. Only this tank, when it saw danger, immediately got out on the shore and dispersed the lions to the sides, after which he calmly went about his business. Hyenas also like to attack rhinos. They can't handle large individuals, but they can try to take young ones away from their mothers. In the video, hyenas attacked a mother with a cub. They attack from all sides, trying to separate the family, but the mother doesn't leave the cub, which in turn runs beside her. Not all of these attacks go without consequences. Hyenas have incredibly powerful jaws and can very easily injure a rhino. For example, here hyenas bit off the rhino's tail. But usually, when they see a large and strong animal, neither hyenas nor wild dogs dare to attack. Rhinos and elephants often meet each other, re-establishing their habitats, but these encounters are not always peaceful. A female rhino with a cub met an elephant, and when a cub is nearby, rhinos are very dangerous. The rhino goes forward, showing who's boss. But luckily, the elephant didn't want to fight and backed off. Perhaps by doing so, it saved the rhino's life. Here, the rhino got too close to the elephants. The elephant took a large branch, put it on its head, and went to meet the boundary violator. But the rhino isn't in a hurry to leave. Then the elephant takes the branch and throws it at the rhino. Elephants are smart animals. Rhinos are so aggressive and stubborn that even encounters with other rhinos can lead to a fight. In the video, a mother with a cub met a male rhino and a battle began. The rhinos raise so much dust that you can't see who's where. The scariest thing about these fights is that you can easily trample a cub. But as a rule, such fights do not lead to injuries and end with one side running away. Rhinos often wander onto roads, and then any car can easily become the target of their attack. You can see how all the cars are turning around and trying to drive away from the rhino. The rhino is probably a frequent visitor to this road, and this couple in a Ford very recklessly stopped next to a huge black rhino. It was only by sheer luck that the rhino didn't attack the car. Apparently, the people themselves didn't understand how lucky they were. Rhinos are very curious and often approach other animals. In the video, a young rhino came close to a bison, but the bison didn't get flustered and tried to hit it with its horns. This was enough to send the young and inexperienced rhino running away. And here, the rhino is preparing to attack a buffalo. It's unclear what caused the conflict, but neither is willing to give in. But usually in such fights, mass decides, and the rhino simply sweeps the bull out of its way. It moves like a bulldozer, not stopping for a second. Other buffaloes rush to help, but even together they can't do anything against an enraged rhino. Look how dangerous a rhino's horn can be. Here, wild boars cautiously sneak up to eat some hay, but apparently the rhino didn't like it, and with one head movement it pierced the wild boar. The wild boar flies several meters up and falls to the ground. It's even more dangerous to watch battles of smaller animals with rhinos. But there are heroes there too. Who would have thought that an antelope could clash horns in a fight with a rhino? And in this video, the antelope starts butting heads with the rhino, which is several times heavier, and there are two other white rhinos standing nearby, also ready for battle. But the antelope doesn't just run away, it even attacks, forcing the rhino to back away. It's unclear how the fight would have ended if the animals hadn't been separated. The young rhino got too close to the giraffe and as a result, got kicked in the forehead. Just listen to that sound. Lions immediately run away when they see such guests, and no prey is worth risking your life for, although sometimes they do dare to attack a rhino. But the lions do it extremely carefully and run away immediately. After all, the rhino can easily chase the big cats, and to escape from it, lions even climb trees. And a huge pride of 18 fighters can't figure out how to bring down a grown rhino, while the other neighbors are backing down, putting aside all their business and watching the fight very carefully. But if rhinos fight with lions as if for their lives, then with others it's a dispute over territory. And the bigger the opponent, the better. So if a rhino starts shaking its head, pinning its ears back, lowering its head to the ground, and exhaling loudly through its nostrils, you better leave as soon as possible. Only a lucky break saved a car with tourists from a rhino, and often it's the movement of the car that provokes the giant to attack. He probably thinks the opponent is running away and needs to be given another push. After all, rhinos have very poor eyesight. Therefore, cars often receive such blows, and sometimes its attack can be very unexpected. Moreover, the rhino can chase the car for a long time and do so at high speed. Despite its weight, it accelerates to 45 km/h and can maintain such a pace for a long time. You even wonder how it can run so fast. Only the skill of the drivers and a relatively flat road can save you from the enraged beast. And this aggression is exhibited by other species of rhinos as well. So in Asia, such safaris are no less dangerous. These gangsters can easily block the road and force them to leave. Even a big bus can't handle it. And trying to get around rhinos, as we remember, is usually more trouble than it's worth. And in these shots, a rhino runs onto the road itself, and the driver, escaping in reverse, sends the car into the ditch. But everything worked out, and the animals didn't attack it. So it's clear why everyone is running away if such a beast suddenly appears on the streets of the city. It's very dangerous to joke with him. Although some people apparently don't think about it at all, and they're wrong. After all, it can suddenly try to catch up with a passerby, and then even mark its territory. Interestingly, this character is cultivated from a young age. After all, the rhino is always next to its mother, and it sees how she talks to her neighbors. So even the smallest calf will be just as audacious. It will attack people, even if they want to help its mother and treat all its wounds. Although, like all children, they are very curious, and sometimes they can get a beating from larger neighbors. And this is how they amusingly express their displeasure when they've been deprived of milk. It's just like a real baby crying. And of course, any little one loves to be scratched like this. But despite their mother's protection, they often face great danger. After all, there can be aggressive males nearby, and the calf might not be okay. The mother immediately attacks, but the opponent surpasses her in size. Look how strong the rhino is. After all, he lifts her feet off the ground, and after a short fight, the mother is already escaping, and males can even attack young calves brutally like this. And the rhino isn't afraid of elephants either, and can boldly swoop down on them like this. And notice how high the people climbed into the trees. It all depends on the size of the fighters though, and this elephant doesn't even let her relieve herself peacefully. But the mother stands her ground and stabs the elephant with her horn, causing it to retreat. However, it doesn't calm down and continues to express its displeasure by breaking branches. By the way, did you notice how the larger elephant tried to stop its relative with its trunk? And it did so repeatedly. But the bully came back anyway, and seeing that the rhinos weren't afraid of him, he started throwing sticks. Of course, the rhinos can't drive away 3 elephants, and they slowly, but without losing their dignity, retreat backwards. Therefore, the rhino wouldn't back down from someone like a buffalo, and the bull has no chance here. The rhino easily lifts it and throws it to the ground. And this is even more epic fight. The rhino has its horn sawed off here, and the buffalo has backup. But this doesn't stop the rhino from throwing its opponent like this. Then it completely lifts the buffalo off the ground and puts it on its back. And the buffalo has no choice but to run away. But the ones who really surprised me were the antelopes. They fight desperately, despite the colossal size difference. And sometimes they even manage to move the rhinos. But this black antelope is showing a real masterclass. Like sabers, it uses its horns skillfully, driving away the rhinos one after another. Moreover, the antelope bends its knees and keeps its head low to the ground so that the rhinos can't carry out their attack. Apparently, it doesn't belong to the family of sable antelopes for nothing. This is how stubborn and headstrong this thick-skinned giant turned out to be. And I hope it was interesting and you learned something new about the rhino. Then don't be lazy to rate the video. Write in the comments who to tell about next time, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to turn on notifications. And I'll say goodbye for now. See you later.